What is going on, everybody? Welcome to What's the 411. It's your girl, Miss Ellie, and guys, man, oh man, did we have a show on Saturday. Okay, guys, for everybody who attended the summit, thank you so much. For anybody who participated in the summit, whether you were playing games, whether you were participating in the raffle, whether you reposted, whether you played the giveaway, type of thing that we were doing, the little challenge or whatever you want to call it on the summit. If you participated by submitting a commercial, by being an expert panelist, by helping to put the video, like every single person, definitely, I want to give major gratitude and major thanks to for the summit on Saturday. It was a complete success. We had live performances. I want to send a big shout out to everybody who was doing a live performance. I want to on the summit and was actually, giving their expert opinion. Oh man, it was just fabulous. Just fabulous. And what's up, guys? Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys. So, of course, today, you know what it is. We are back to business, and we are excited to have our guest Nikki in the building. So Nikki's gonna join us, and we are gonna get right into some good conversation. All right, guys. So I also want to send a big shout out to everybody who won some prizes because I was out there today doing some giveaways. As you can see, I'm wearing a Ghetto Stories t-shirt. Was one of the giveaways. Of course, Miss Elaine Robinson, Miss Ghetto Stories herself. She donated a couple of giveaways for us, and she also gifted me a t-shirt and some good stuff. A fan, a purse, like she hooked me up. So I am appreciative of her. We have Lolita's Creations. She also did a giveaway as well. Um, we also, what's up, Dangerous? What's going on? What is going on, everybody in the chat? Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Yes, Higher Heights Expo, Miss Nikki. It was a great summit. It definitely was. And we definitely want to send a big shout out to everybody who, participated in it. Want to send a big shout out to KSM Elegance, just popping in the building. Of course, she was a great supporter. She got together a whole bunch of individuals to put together for the raffle basket. That was just phenomenal. I mean, that raffle basket was it was like I wanted to keep that thing. It had so many goodies in there. Geez, I'm telling you. And so we did the raffle, and I want to send a big shout out to Anne from Island Sweat Fitness who won that raffle. She actually was doing she was doing a fundraiser that specific day on Saturday for St. Vincent. So she also surpassed her expectation of what they were trying to raise. So she surpassed that. And so when I told her that, she had won the gift basket, she's like, oh my gosh, Ellie, this is like blessing on blessing on blessing. And I'm like, you are right, girl. It is a blessing. And she was out there doing something special. And so you know how it is. It always comes back to you a hundredfold. So we are excited to have what is going on, Elohima? How are you? How are you? UK in the building. What is going on? Yes, Chris, it definitely was a great summit. I mean, everybody who came on to participate in the summit was just phenomenal. I feel like the flow was perfect. And the way it goes is these people are coming on, they're presenting, they're giving us their expertise, and I don't know what they're going to talk about in general. You know what I mean? I kind of get a gist. They give me a gist of what they're going to say, but it's like that flow of how it goes was just phenomenal. From the time it started all the way to the end, it all went well together. The message meshed. And yes, it was all about unity, all about, making sure that we could connect with each other. It was just all love. And that's what I wanted the theme to be for this season. So I was like, it all came together perfectly. So it was really, really good. So we are waiting for Miss Nikki. Nikki, I'm trying to add you to come. I am inviting you to talk to me, girl. Let's see what's going to happen here. I also want to send a big shout out to the performers. The performers were off the chain. It was so phenomenal to have them, just it was just great. It was great. Um, we had the Dying Thief, we had Sose Picasso, and we had Lorenzo perform. And I mean, it was really, really good. It was really good. For you guys who missed it, make sure you click the link in my bio. And you definitely want to just watch the replay. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. You can forward it to a friend. Already have a couple of people that are signed up for the summit coming up in August. So you definitely want to make sure that you are signing up for the summit. Um, yeah, I see it says waiting. Oh, there we go.
I don't know. I don't know. I came in kind of different this time. That's so weird. Wow. I was on
How,
here already, but the way I came through, it made me do join the room. So
really?
I don't know. I'm here though.
It's what's going on? What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I am good. I'm enjoying this beautiful weather. Finally summer has come to grace us.
Yes, absolutely. So I heard you talking about the summit. I had no idea you were waiting on me. I would have came out and came back in a lot sooner. But I was actually happy that you were able to touch on, what really happened, over the weekend and how amazing it was. And honestly, like I was like, oh my God, we need more of this. So just wanted to say thank you so much for bringing on awesome people. I was able to connect with a lot of them. I like connecting. I don't know what that really means for the future, but it's good to know that I've met amazing people and they're all like-minded. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, you're welcome. And thank you guys for actually coming on. I appreciate you for coming on, for joining, for, tuning in, listening, participating. It was definitely something great. So I appreciate you, girl. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Yes, so talk to us. Tell us your name, who you are, what you do, all of the things that you do.
All of the good stuff. Alrighty, so I've joined everyone this evening. Good evening. My name is Nikki. My full name is Nikki Moodie, and I'm joining you here on my finance page. But essentially, what I do is I offer finance, fitness, and business. So I'm really falling in love with entrepreneurship as I speak right now. Finding a way to brand yourself accordingly. I'm great with doing that on Instagram. Once you Instagram is almost like your mini website. Like once you kind of populate all your themes and your pillars and whatnot, you can really help build your brand. But I'm also in finance as well. I got into finance and fitness February of last year. So this is when the pandemic was just about to hit, and we talk about alignment. It's just something that I kind of went into. But what I'm really fortunate about is that each endeavor allows me to tap into what is missing in our culture. So when it comes to finance, really being able to educate people on financial literacy so you can make your own decisions. There is a lot of information out there. And when I mean a lot, there is a lot. Even right now, being a certified financial advisor, I'm focusing a lot on the life insurance, trying to really understand how that is. And once I get that full grasp, then it's just going to be the next level up, which I'm going to focus more on investments. And then when it comes to, the entrepreneurship and the business side, I am a life coach. So that's where a little bit all of this stems from, is that, I'm a life coach. That is like my main role. But I was very adamant to say that I can help people in all areas of their lives, because I do believe that without health, you're not able to build wealth, and without wealth, you can't have good health. So you do need to have those both in mind. And having a sustainable business will allow you to leave a legacy for your family, and that's what I represent on my finance page. I'm a wealth builder, and it's not hard to build. You just have to be doing the right steps, to be able to achieve that over the years to come. So yeah.
Wow. My gosh. You summed it up really nicely, but that is a lot. You are doing a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
big up yourself on that, man. That's phenomenal. But talk to us about fitness because, you know, the fitness journey is super important because that's like a personal journey. Once you have your mind right and you're fit and you're, you know, eating healthy, it's easier for you to get other things in line. So talk to us about that.
100%. So, because the coaching kind of took a little bit of a higher priority, that is my focus, and then my finance, of course. Fitness is still there, and what I can tell you from fitness is that I made it really a lifestyle. Once you understand fitness and the benefits of it, you exercise, you eat your good foods, you making sure that you know you're managing your weight. So I got into fitness with a company called Total Life Changes, and essentially what it does is they offer supplements, healthy supplements. So we have your daily vitamins, we have weight loss products, we have detox teas. I have weight gain to chewy as well items, and essentially everything that I have, they're all natural, right? And when I first started with this company, loved them for who they were worth, but I realized that this is a great thing for people to start out with. Our number one product, which is NutriBurst, is a multivitamin, and that's great for everybody. Everybody can take that. It's liquid. I love it. It gives you bursts of energy. But all the other products, they are meant to do something, whether it's to give you a burst of energy, whether it's to help you reduce weight, whether it's to help you gain weight. There's even heart ones that I take that are really good for just, you know, supporting the heart. You have inflammation. So we don't make any medical claims, but back before COVID hit, my background's in hospitality. So I wanted to take baking and pastry management because I wanted to one day be able to open my own dessert catering company. But I just wanted to get an idea of what is it that I would be looking towards. And I think poor equipment in terms of the shoes I was wearing wasn't conducive to me being on my feet like that. Like you're literally in that class the entire time. You even have to get there early to measure all your ingredients for what you have to prepare. You know, you're there, you're producing, you're baking, you have to get tested on the spot. Like it was a lot. And I ended up getting a cyst in my knee. And it was really bad. Like around these times, my whole entire leg would swell. And she said it was the size of a grape by the time I went through the MRI. And they're like, okay, we're gonna have to do day surgery. But because the pandemic just hit, I think it kind of disrupted the specialist having to get in touch with me. So when the doctor called me, at that given time, I was taking chaga, which is inflammation that has Siberian mushroom in it, just regularly taking it every day. Could be even a cup complement, you know, of the NutriBurst. And yeah, for the most part, I don't experience any more pain in my knee. I'm almost certain if I went back, like I haven't seen the doctor since this whole pandemic went. Like I just haven't had the need. I'm in my house. I watch what I eat. I exercise. And really, I just want to be able to educate to people how important it is to make it a lifestyle. Like, it's not a like quick fix, like I'm trying to lose weight. Like, great, you can use like the resolution drops, you know, that's what really helps you lose a lot of weight. But after, like, that should be like the starting point where you understand, okay, I got to get my meal plans in, you know, be able to like portion out my meals. And I got to know what days that I'm working out, and I got to make it realistic. And I got to make sure that I'm taking in my walks and doing all these other things besides just exercise. So it's literally a lifestyle, you know, and I am studying for it. I'm studying to be a fitness instructor. So I've gone through the exam, and even just reading the book, it's like we're not aware of why people get heart attacks or why, you know, they get chest angina. And it's like, there's so, like, as I'm learning, I'm like, how do I get this out to the general public to understand that our heart is so important? Without our heart, it doesn't pump, we don't live. But essentially, when it's pumping all that blood through our body, it's collecting everything, waste, nutrients, as well as hormones. So if you're stressed at work or you're stressed over something, your heart is actually just pumping the hormones throughout your whole entire body, right? So when we hear people having these heart attacks or these strokes, that's essentially why. And this is why they say, like, you know, to try to be more at peace, to do things like meditation or prayer or devotion, to really give yourself that alignment before you actually get into the day, so that you can be more intentful with what is it that you have to do, and not let the external world kind of throw you off guard. But health is serious. It really is. But you can still eat good. You can still eat good and it tastes good. And you know what I mean? It's just, I do my best. I'm not here to say, oh my God, you guys need to cut this out. I'm here to say it takes time. You know, and that's what I realized with the fitness, right? It takes time. So even as I'm maneuvering how to be a fitness instructor, I realized that I want to do the dancing one. But to get into that, it takes practice and time. You have to craft your passion, right? So definitely encourage you to at least walk every single day. It's so good for you. And you can even do habit stacking. So I habit stack and I wear, listen to audio podcasts or books, and I just do a 2 for 1. So that's also an option.
So habit stacking is like you're listening to an audio, you're training for something, or
You're
is that what
you're
you mean?
you're doing something you like and something you have to do.
Ah, that's important because you know what? Sometimes it's hard to get motivated. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
definitely, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
I
for
mean,
fitness, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, so fitness, would you say for each person's fitness journey it's kind of different?
Absolutely. And there's so many different factors that can come into play, right? If you've never been, exercising a while, for you to actually get to that level will take a lot longer for somebody who probably just relapsed maybe over a month or a period of time. You also have to factor in the body mass. So depending on how much I have in terms of fat mass in comparison to you, it will take you a little bit longer to actually get yourself to actually reduce those the fats, the deposits are in your body a lot longer. That's essentially what it is. So I say anything over, if you want to lose maybe about 20 pounds or more, then yeah, absolutely use the resolution drops. But then once again, that's not for everybody, right? I tell people, like, if you have like intestinal problems or gastro problems of that sort, I wouldn't recommend it because it's drops you're taking, right? And it goes right to your stomach. But essentially, it also curbs your appetite and suppresses it. So you're not prone to want to eat. So I'm very cautious of what I have to ask clients, like, what are your current medical conditions, right? Because it's so important that these are all natural products. And the one thing with our body is we're not used to this. We're not used to, like, even if you go buy Centrum or you go buy the tablet form multivitamins, the absorption rate is about 60%, whereas the liquid formula is about 90. So you're actually getting it. You're actually feeling like NutriBurst will actually wake you up because it's liquid. It just, and then you get it within 15 minutes, you just feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. So everybody is going to be different. I might need to take one energy. Somebody might need to take two energy, and that's raw, natural energy, right? But definitely pacing yourself. I think journals are very important. So when you start doing something, documenting it, because even with the detox, everybody should be detoxing. You cannot get everything out by yourself. Even if you're having regular bowel movements, even for me, I have regular bowel movements, but I really enjoy detoxing because it just like really flushes everything out. And it's something that I do over a period of time because we consume everything. Like sometimes I don't eat good stuff all the time either, so I flush that out, really and truthfully, right? I don't let it sit inside my body like that, because just like with garbage, you put garbage outside, it sits inside our body, like, so then if we can get it out, that'd be awesome,
It's
right?
true.
And there's people who can't use the washroom, so then it's a great way to have the fiber move through your body and be able to push everything out and then allow it to go on a consistent basis, as long as you're consistent with the products. So yeah.
So how often should we be detoxing?
And that's, once again, that's going to vary. But I
Okay.
say personally, like for me, when I detox, I'll detox, like I'll do like a 5 day, like a Monday to Friday. I'll take the weekend off, then I'll come back again Monday to Friday. Or sometimes, so then there's two different types. You have like the sachets, which you can take that pretty much. I do between 8 to 10 at night, and by 6 o'clock in the morning, I feel that, or as I arrive, I feel that I got to use the washroom. Some people will say like, "Oh, detox hurts." Detox only hurts when you are not eating the right foods, right? Because it has to flush everything out. But when I'm eating good foods and I'm only feeding my body the nutrients that I need, everything is just seamless. It's literally just my body going through that regular cycle of just flushing everything out. So some people might just want to detox every single day. There's nothing wrong with detoxing. Absolutely nothing wrong with detoxing, right? But I mean, it becomes a lifestyle in a sense. Like we have the tea bags where you can brew it, and that will last you about 5, 6 days. So if you do it every single week, you're consuming every 6 days. But detoxing is something where, like, if you don't do it for like a month, maybe I would suggest definitely. doing that, because it's not just what you eat, it's even the toxins in the air, right, that we are consuming as well. So everything plays a role. Even though we don't see it, everything plays a role. And it's, of course, we're still good to go, but it's just the little things, right? How can I just prolong, my purpose on this life, or this purpose on this planet, to be able to, do the duty that I'm supposed to do? So it's just really taking care, and it's not easy. I find that I don't know what's worse, getting people to look at their finance or getting people to start their fitness journey. I just know I just know that I'm here for you, and I'm a realist because I fall off too, but I know how important it is. So I'd rather, come back and fall off, come back and fall off, than to never even pay attention to it at all. So.
Geez, so how hard is it to stay dedicated? Because you said this is like a lifestyle. How hard is it for us to jump on and try our best to stay on track?
I think what makes it the most convenient is when you have a schedule. So when you know that, okay, first thing in the morning when I wake up before the world starts at 7 o'clock a.m., I'm going to start my workout. That works really well. And that usually works for me. Monday to Friday, but lately, because I've just been so busy working, and even if like I was looking at myself, I'm like, oh God, girl. Like I know I'm small, guys, but listen, you tell the areas that just start to show up, and you're like, darn it, because it's so easy for the fat to just start piling up, right? If you're exercising regularly and you take that break, you notice your body, right? And it's not about like personally, it's not about, for me, oh, I'm trying to be slim, or I'm trying to be fit, slim, thick, or whatever. It's just knowing that if my body is responding in a way where I see it bloating, or I see it growing, it's just telling me, please take care of me. That's it. So I want to do the best that I can to live in this body for as long as I have it. I'm only renting it. I have a lot to do. So I'm going to do my best to just, kind of just do what I can on a day by day basis. But scheduling, I find that if you don't have a schedule, it will throw everything off. And then you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to get it after this. I'm going to get it after this. I'm going to get it after this. No, the first thing as you wake up, it should be when you decide to work out, because your mind doesn't know yet. You know what I mean? That the day has really started. So you just putting in that exercise will really help in the morning versus trying to get it in the afternoon or even in the evening, right? And you feel so good. Like I can't, as much as I hate getting into it and I hate starting, you feel so good after a workout. So that's why I do it too, right? Because it sends all the endorphins and whatever, all those serotonins, and you feel happy and you feel great, and now you're ready to conquer the day. So that's what I would definitely suggest.
True, true. And you did mention journaling as well. How
Mm-hmm.
important is journaling?
It is so important. So on my life coaching page, at Miss Nikki underscore nicely blessed, I actually have a free manifestation worksheet. And essentially what it is like I even use it. Like, so every day before I do anything, I look at it. I say, okay, what are my intentions for the day? What am I going to actually do in the moment to make sure that I'm going to get my task done? And then what are the goals? Like, what do I actually need to get done? And then there's that visualization point of saying, okay, what does that look like? What does that feel? And that's what I actually hold on to for the entire day. And I have a journal. So even though like my worksheet is digital, you can work right on in it, but I just use it as a format, a template, and then I go ahead and I journal every single day so I can go back and say, okay, what didn't I get a chance to do? What do I need to do? And then I set the intent. And a lot of my intents are really meditation, being mindful, single tasking. That's a huge one for me because I really suck at that. So I remind myself to single task, like one task only. And for me, my memories, it's troubling some days, so I have to literally write what I'm doing. So if I distract myself, it's like, okay, I'm doing that, and get back to it, because my mind is so full of ideas and things to do, and I get so many different downloads of what to do. I really move intuitively. I'm that business partner where it's like, no, we can start and we'll figure it out along the way. Because I'm just like, I don't have the time, and I work well under pressure. So I'm okay with just trying out a project and kind of tweaking it as we go along, because I realize intuitively that's my biggest gift. I don't have to, I am constantly being told by God what to do. And even when it, like this entire month when it started, I heard one person say manifestation May, and I was like, wait, what? And I just released a worksheet. I finally had my branding in place after tweaking it for so long. And then it's like, this month has been nothing but manifestation. So it's like, it's working for me, y'all, and it's been a huge discipline, but it's so achievable to get your goals aligned. Because right now, my next phase is to release ebooks and online courses, and I'm right on track, right? So we definitely want to be doing that, being intentful and journaling our stuff all the time. Because I'm telling you, you're writing the palm printing, like it just the universe, God, they respond differently. They're like, okay, you want it. You wrote it down, we'll make it happen, you know? But we just need to be prepared because we're gonna get it. Don't know when, but it's gonna come for sure.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So that's good. So so life coaching. What do you talk about life coaching and how that works?
So essentially with the life coaching, at first people were, well, it really first started where I work at George Brown. So I'm an assistant and I do orientation and transition events. And I was in a role for about 8 months where I had a lot of engagement with students. And I remember one of the students saying, you know, you should really be a life coach. But it wasn't the first time I heard that. And I actually hired a life coach back in 2020 of last year. And she was telling me the same thing, you've got to be a life coach. But once again, it wasn't the first time I heard that. I'm like, why are these people telling me to become a life coach? But then it hit me because it's when the students were confiding in me and asking me certain life skills that I realized, hold on here, there might be something that I think makes sense. So I did like this pilot coaching group, and I realized that I was able to move people across the point of 4 weeks to setting goals, to coming back even in the third week and being like, well, I finished those goals, so I created another goal. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. But actually, as I talk to you now, I should probably bring that back because, you know, it just keeps people accountable when they have to say things like, I didn't get it done this week, or, you know, but then it creates a discussion of, well, what didn't work? And I find that even people in the group who were able to successfully do their goals, they share what they did that worked best for them. So it really becomes like a coaching where I really get to sit back and watch them learn. But the college also as well decided to offer life skills coaching, and then I took it. So I'm in my last course. I'm so excited. But essentially for me, I'm an experiential coach, meaning that I've gone through a lot. I'm a single mom of 4 boys. I've had 19 years of fight. It's going to be 20 years this year, but I say 19 years of fight because I ran away from home at the age of 16. So there is a lot that I had to go through. And as I become a business professional, now running multiple businesses, really trying my best, you know, to be a citizen in this world, I realized that everything that I needed was on the other side, which I'm now, you know, gaining full access to. So things like going back to school, or even something as simple as, you know, children in society, or family court, or, you know, starting a business. How do I, you know, change my mindset? Like, it doesn't matter what area you are in your business. I'm pretty sure, or even just in your life, I should say, I'm pretty sure I've gone through it, and I'm pretty sure I have an answer for you. Like, I just feel like, no, I haven't been through everything, but that's why it's so important for people to start talking their stories and sharing their stories, because even though your situation might sound entirely different from mine, the lesson that was meant to be learned in that, I pick up on that real quick, right? And that's how I'm able to identify. But more or less, I'm a life skills coach. So essentially what that means is I use problem solving, I use goal setting. Those are my number two goals, or sorry, my number two tools that I use. And that's transferable. So once I show you how to take a situation and break that down, and then how to create goals out of that, you can literally apply that to any part of your life. But essentially, people will still come to me as they're doing new endeavors because it's new to them. But once they kind of grasp it, they'll just go with it. Like for me, I'm not here to be your therapist or be your babysitter. I'm here to literally tell you and make it known I'm a consultative coach, meaning that I am that coach that kind of grabs what I need, but I don't wait for you to keep discovering. I just consult you, tell you what it is that you got to do, and I can then hold you accountable along the way based off the roadmap that I've given you. So it's a lot that I can do, but essentially that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know why anybody else should take 19 years like I did just to figure out finance, or just to figure out what it really takes to run a business, or what it takes to, to let go of your fears, your stigmas, your traumas, all the pain points that's been holding you back, thinking that you can't get to the next level. Like, that has just been a part of the perception of your reality, thing that you've allowed to come in. But once you start getting through that, you realize that you have a true purpose. And that's where I'm trying to get with people, right? Like, providing that sense of clarity where it's like, no, we're all here for something. And I'd like to find out if you want to find out, because I'm good at that. It's just something I'm gifted with. I can listen well. I can find out what you're good at, even if you don't see it within yourself, and get you on that journey, more or less. So, yeah.
Geez, girl. Well, you got to big up yourself on that, man, because that's huge.
Yes.
That's huge. Um, but talk about, like, you made a huge point there about owning our stories and then telling our stories, because you never
Mm-hmm.
know how those stories are going to impact somebody else's situation. So,
Yes.
talk about that a bit.
That's key. Especially if you have a business. Like, majority of us have started businesses because we're passionate about something. Maybe perhaps something didn't work out in our lives, and we now say that we don't want somebody else to go through this, or we want to help somebody become a better person because we had to go through this, and it, kind of broke us down a little bit. So we just have to, I guess, there's so many different ways to kind of break down how you as an individual can even really just show up, right? And it's really hard, but like, even for me, my businesses, for the longest while, I realized that I had a self-employed mindset. So you wear all these hats and think that you kind of have to do everything, but then you realize that there's really more to that, right? When you understand how to really leverage your business and bring it to newer heights, and how you can tap into other people and do collaborations and of that sort, right? And I feel like I just kind of went off topic for a second. Just remind me again what the question was.
We were just talking about, like, no, you're not off topic. We're talking about just owning your story,
Okay.
telling people, sharing the stories and the benefits of that.
Yeah. So that's great for the business, but it's like you said, somebody out there also needs to hear your story. So, and I think this is where, like, I was getting a little bit, like, not blockage, but like, even for me, I'm still learning to tell my story. So that's what I think just happened here. I kind of went in this whole trans because I'm aware, like, I can tell my story, no problem, but I realized that if when I start to tell my story, I start my story from the time that I decided to go back to post-secondary back in 2012, and my whole life shifted. But then this is why I'm saying it's so important to own your story, because I realized before then there's a lot of hurt and pain and things that I still have to kind of dig deep down. But at the same time, what's becoming more evident is that the more authentic I am, the more I become visible to somebody who didn't realize that there was somebody else out there that was experiencing exactly what I was experiencing. And to tell your story is hard because nobody's walking around documenting it, right? That's another thing too. You got to then sit back in your trauma, sit back in the things that triggered you, and then you got to write your story. So as businesses, I do realize that there's a thing that when it comes to marketing your business is called KLT, and that's the know, like, trust factor. So the know, like, trust factor, that's you being vulnerable. That's you telling your story. So I realized that stories come in pockets.
Mm.
So when I tell you that I've had 19 years of fight and I don't want anybody else to experience that because that I went through that, I say that, but there's a story in it. And I'm
Right.
still trying to find a way to tell the story and when to tell the story, because it's not that I fear what anybody's gonna say. I'm still growing as an individual, right? So you do have to tweak your stories certain ways depending on the stage of your business. For example, you look at J. Cole and you look at Jay-Z, who they were versus who they are now. People would say that they look like Mudman, but no, it's because they've gotten to a point in their life they don't have to show up for nobody but themselves. They don't have to be wary of what anybody else has to say because they are their brand, right? They don't have to worry about that. So your story is so important, because if you want people to buy into you, if you want people to buy into your products, your service, what it is that you're offering, you as a brand, you as an individual, you got to start telling bits of your stories. So for
Mhm.
me, it's like, let me talk a little bit more of the single mom life now, because that's been hard, and full transparency, vulnerable moment. But I was in the kitchen today and I see my son coming, and I was trying to like, it was like a 2 for 1. I was like, my kitchen ain't clean. I mean, trying to play it off, whatever. Like, okay, whatever, come give me a hug. And I go to hold him, I go to hug him, and he's taller than me and everything, right? And then like, I don't know if it was the connection I was feeling. I just said, you know, I wish I had more time to spend with you guys because you're getting so big now to the point where you're taller than me. And I started crying, and he's like, he kind of like looks back like, are you crying? I said, I don't know where that came from, and I'm so sorry, but this is a part of the journey too, right? Like even my children are experiencing it because I have to remind them that, guys, I'm so much closer than I've ever been. I know this is it. I know that we're going to get to do all the stuff that, you know, essentially that I really wanted to do. When I was working in the hospitality industry, my reward to them was sending them on vacations. That's what I did often. I was making great money. But then nobody told me about Canada's taxation system and how it was about to come throw me out the water when I was to go file my taxes because they're like, oh, you make X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, but I'm one person with 4 children. But they're like, Canada's tax system. So that's what really pushed me to understand, how do I reduce my tax so I get into finance? But then I realized having a business is like one of the greatest things that you can have, you know? And Ella, I just want to ask you a question right now. When it comes to your business that you have, do you claim them income tax time?
Well, 416 Love is incorporated, so I
Right.
do taxes for it.
Okay,
So yeah.
perfect. Okay, that's good.
Mhm.
Because even for people who have businesses, it's not registered, um, and you're there, you're trying to build it up, you can claim. You can absolutely claim, right? Like whether it's advertising or things that you've done for the business, even if it's small, it still helps towards, you know, reducing your tax at the end of the day, or you know, bringing it down to a certain degree. Because when I was doing Uber, that's what I didn't notice. When I had a nice high paying job, and then I'm just a hustler. I'll do everything, you know? So I was doing Uber while I was still managing, you know, hotels. Cause I was like, yo, it's easy money. I can just take a ride
Yeah.
on the way home. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, no problem. But at that time, I was actually paying off debt. That's what I was doing. I really had a strategic plan, and I was able to pay off all my debt at that point in time. But when she said to me, like, oh, you lost money this year. I was like, okay, but I wish somebody said to me, like, you lost money, but that also means your tax bracket. Because then I would have always made sure that I did something. Like I've always had businesses, but I've never claimed for nothing. And then just finding out that I can, you know, actually claim even under self-employed, when knowing what it takes to actually have a registered business, when you need to register it, like this is what's missing in our culture. Not like the conversation of how do you actually start a business, when do you need to have these things in place, because it's not
Mhm.
cheap to start a
Yeah.
business. So if you tell me that I can start a business but I don't need to register yet, but I can still file it under my name, well then I'd rather do my couple sales, use the sale money, then go register the business. And at least I know that every single time I'm only promoting to take in the money and then invest it and dump it right back in the business. But even doing that, we don't understand that as well, right?
Right.
We tend to use the money and use it for a personal gain. And that's one of the things I also tell people, like, if you go to incorporate your business, you cannot do that. So be careful what you do, because you can't just run that like it's your regular bank account. You know, it's a whole different playing field. So even I don't understand too much, but I was schooled on it, and all I knew was I gotta learn about this a little bit more, you know? But for
Yeah.
now, I can do the startup businesses, like how to start your business, where to go, how to look for all those different stuff, how to brainstorm if you don't have a business name, all those stuff, like just get it started in the meantime. And then for me, I like evolution. So over time, I'll learn more about like, okay, the difference between really incorporating your business and what does that take, and X, Y, and Z, and you know, so
Yeah.
it'll take some time for sure. But I like learning, so I will be the one to learn it all for y'all and put a pretty price tag on it.
Yes, you definitely have a lot of knowledge. Like you know, the first time we had spoken, you put me on some game on Instagram, on just spreadsheets, on Canva, on
Mhm.
so much. So tell us, like, are you going to have courses in these things? Like,
Mhm.
what are you planning
Yeah,
with
so I'm gonna
mhm.
stay true to my deadline because it's just the way it has to work. But next week is when I plan on releasing the Instagram content strategy guide, as well as the hashtag and caption guide. They're both going to be ebooks. They're going to be available for people to start using and applying it, right? So it's very important that people understand that when you get information, you just don't let it go. Like you take it and you apply it and you see how it
Yeah.
works. Because I am that girl. Like I will take something, get it in bits and pieces, and make it work for me. So now that I make certain things work, I'm like, I can give it to you. But that's the one disconnect that I find with people is they're not committed. They're not committed to really doing what they want to do. So those will get released first. And then I'm going to do the online courses because that's a whole next project. I believe that I'm going to probably use Thinkerific. So I actually just completed a course in curriculum development, which was eye-opener. Be careful. What I say, honestly, you all have to really, when you ask for something and you want it badly enough, like it will come to you. And I remember back in maybe about 2 months ago, ran into a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, I'm taking this curriculum development course. Like I just want to learn how to write courses online. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I have this friend who's gonna be doing webinars soon, and she makes 6 figures a year. I said, she makes what a year? Sorry. So in my mind, I was like, oh, so you dropped this in my soul, God. I appreciate you. As I'm trying to figure out how to do this. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing to know. Back in 2019, I quit my job as a food and beverage assistant manager. And I was like, there's something greater than this. And then within maybe about 4 months later, I get hired a teacher position at Centennial. So I teach special events operations at Centennial. That's what really opened up my doors to education and taking what I'm learning and giving it back to the community and making it accessible so that somebody else can get a little bit further in life. So everything that I'm doing now, the focus is to put it into teachable moments, right? So that's why everything I do now, I can do that. But creating courses, anybody can do it, but from a teaching perspective, there's so many different things you want to implement in there, like stimuli and making sure that they're doing their journaling, the activity bound stuff. Like I really want it to be in a way where if I take you, if I create this course for you and you actually sit through it on your own leisure, essentially you're supposed to come out and really be able to know how to do that on your own, right? So Hustle While You Wait is my program. And essentially what it is, it's one-on-one coaching. There's online courses, there are ebooks, and then the class that I'm going to create after all of that is done will be a hybrid of all of them. But then you just get me, and you get me for a duration of time. So that's where the accountability piece comes in. So it will all be made available. I've been spoken to. This is exactly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing next, and it feels good. Honestly, like it feels good because there's no blueprint to life or how we can go about it a certain way. And, I understand the ask and you shall receive, but there are a lot of people when you don't know what it is you need to receive or you don't know how to get to the next level, how do you know what to ask? Like we're not all built that way, and I wasn't built that way until I kind of did different stuff and then I would ask more questions, but not a lot of us know what it takes to do certain things. So I'm hoping to be a familiar face with a brand that says, yo, go to Nikki. Nikki has the answer. Like, Nikki's going to be the one to really guide you on wherever you need to go to. And I really want to target single moms because we do have disposable income. Okay. It's just how we really budgeting. That's my next thing. I love budgeting. Budgeting can take you to new places. That's how I paid off my debt. It's how I'm staying sane in this pandemic because I swear to God, like it's been good, but for me, I've been working on the businesses and not in it because of the calling that's been presented to me, right? So even with the finance, I created an 8 weeks course. So you was gonna see a lot of courses coming through. When I first started finance, I'm like, I want to do like something with women and her children, but sometimes we need to go through certain things first to be able to be like, all right, now I know how to write it. So when it comes to writing out a whole curriculum, I did really well with that course. I paid attention. I took as much notes as I could, and now I'm ready. Like I am ready to start writing it, but it takes time, right? Because you're writing. It's like writing a book. I'm realizing like I've been writing, but I'm still writing. I'm still writing.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I love it. I really do. It's getting me back to my creative juices, and it's helping with my designs. It's helping with my thought process. So the creativity is just it's through the roof right now. And this is what I encourage everybody to do as well. Like get into the habit of doing something that you haven't done, because I promise you, if you do it, you're gonna get the answers you need. But it also takes you to a new level. Like you keep unlocking these doors, and then like you realize that, oh my gosh, I acquired all these different skills, and now I'm able to couple it and offer that and do better and do more and do better, because human becomings. We evolve. We have the room and the capability to learn as much as we allow ourselves to take in, right?
True.
So I know it's a lot harder. I tell people like this is the best season, like COVID, you should have been studying a lot because I mean, I want to say you should have been, but I also understand as well for those individuals that may have like mental issues or maybe in a situation that wasn't conducive for them. But that's why when the pandemic is over, I'll definitely have a speaking platform that talks about working in the season. You know, how we could have really been very intentional with this season, which I have been. I've seen, I really can't believe we've been in COVID for over a year now. Wow. Like that's
Right?
crazy when you think about it. Like
Yeah.
a year and a half is gonna go into another year because we're gonna have a little bit of freedom, but not too much. But
Mhm.
I've used this entire time. I've been in school since September. I worked on the businesses. I've never stopped, and I'm just happy that I did because I can help somebody else slash those times that it would take them to kind of get their business up and running. So it's coming.
And you know what? You're saying a lot. There's a lot of people who have started a business during COVID. You know, a lot
Mhm.
of people are doing great things, you
Right.
know,
Yes.
during this time. So
Yeah, you're finding
it's
an
honestly,
opportunity.
yeah,
For sure.
you
Definitely.
yeah. But we had somebody in the chat say, how do we stay disciplined, or we need discipline? Like how, or we lack, I think she said, we lack discipline. How do we maintain that?
If you first, you have to know why, because that's the hardest thing, right? If you just say, I want to start reading or I do want to work out, if you don't have a why behind it, you're not gonna really work towards it. So if your goal changes from I'm not about losing weight, but I just want to make it a part of my lifestyle, then you're more conditioned to at least start working out maybe once or twice a week, right? You're just gradually getting yourself there to understand, wow, this feels good because you're going to be like, I want to actually work out because it feels good. And you just, one of the things I always say is be kind to yourself. So even when it comes to discipline and creating habits, understand that we have a subconscious and our subconscious has already taken in information before we've already noticed it. So half the time is we're only reenacting with the reality that's not real and what our subconscious picked up from the reality that's not real. So if you find ways to maybe pay attention to what you do over the week and journal why aren't you able to be disciplined. Maybe it might be your cell phone is a distraction or you're waking up too late and the day's already started and you don't feel like you can be productive. So it could be maybe not touching your phone after a certain period of time or not touching it before the morning time or maybe waking up earlier to get your exercise in or making sure that's the first thing you get done, right? But discipline I find is the most hardest thing to do, but I think that we need to be kind to ourselves because we're not always up for it, and that's actually okay. Like if there's some days that I don't feel up for exercising, I'm not gonna exercise and I'm gonna be like, you good, Nikki? I'm like, I'm good, and I'm gonna just leave like that. I'm not gonna worry about it. But if my why is because I want to teach other the importance of really like giving it your all when it comes to your health and your wealth, putting your finances first, that makes more sense than just being like, it sounds good. Day trading, it sounds good. Everybody's making money. It sounds good. No, you have to like, it's your why. If you have children, maybe because you want to live, you live as long as you can for your children. Your why really puts things into perspective for you. But that's one thing, but you also have to have an action behind it. So you still got to be working towards it. And I think that's a disconnect that we have is that we want to be disciplined and we sit there, but then if you're trying to work out, then put your workout clothes the first thing when you do when you wake up in the morning. So that you're already dressed. And all you gotta do is just do the darn thing. Like literally. But it's
Yeah.
hard. I want to say that. Like I still struggle, but I'm so kind with myself because at the other times I have great weeks, right? And other times I don't have so much great weeks, but then it's the moment, right? Really being intentional and being present in the moment and knowing that as long as you're trying your best. So I mean, if you're trying, don't be too hard on yourself. But if you're just asking, how do I be disciplined? Last we gotta kind of really have something in place that allows you to show up for yourself, right? Because you are showing up for yourself, and essentially when you show up for yourself, you show up for your family, you show up for your friends, you show up for strangers that you don't know. So it's really a blessing to be able to take that level of commitment to be disciplined just so that we can be there for others.
Geez, you're speaking some hard facts, but it's true,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely true. Um, Miss Main Music says be steadfast and understanding as well. So
Mm, you have to.
definitely.
You have to
Hmm.
for sure.
So if our why isn't strong enough, then I guess we're not meeting those goals. Like our why really has to be pretty strong.
Hmm. Definitely. My why is people. I need
Hmm.
people to hear my message. I need people to hear my story when it's ready to be received. I need people to tap into, what I believe in my heart is right for them. And that's what I live by. When I get up every day to say I'm going to connect with somebody, it's what can I do for this person? It's not what they can do for me. What can I do for this person? And I connect on that way because in my heart, I'm like, I want to find a way for us to connect and be able to get back to the community. So that's what I kind of that's my why. And I realize that everybody's why is not like that. It's a little bit harder, but essentially that's what has worked best for me. Right. And if you're intentionally looking for your why or intentionally looking to become disciplined, also it will come. So even when it might be hard in the beginning, but if it's what you want, this is what you desire. If you're journaling and you're saying, okay, today I'm not going to touch my phone. Today I'm going to read 10 pages. Today I'm going to pray for at least, 2 minutes and then follow that back up by, devotion, like whatever that looks like, write it out so that when you don't check mark it off and you move to the next day and you realize that you hadn't get it done, you're just reminded that I can implement this today and I can implement this tomorrow. And you just do the best that you can. That's it. Really.
Hmm. Yeah, and then another thing that kind of goes with discipline is accountability, because, we gotta, just as you're saying, checking it off, being self-accountable, but
Mhm.
as like you're an accountability coach, how important is that factor
It is
in
so important.
success?
I don't like
Hmm.
accountability people. I don't like I'm gonna be real with y'all. I work well in my own businesses, but when I'm in projects, I'm honestly I have to be held accountable. It's just the way it goes. But having a friend, like especially I find with the fitness journey, when you're serious about that, you tell somebody. You tell somebody that, hey, today or these X amount of days I dedicated to putting in work. And when you don't meet that and they ask you, you ain't supposed to get upset and mad, but you're supposed to be like, okay, I'm gonna do better, right?
Hmm.
So definitely having somebody is key. But also being mindful that when you have an accountability partner and say perhaps they're reminding you like they're supposed to, and say it triggers you in any way, you need to sit with that. What about that made you feel that way, that they told you what you agreed for them to tell you? Because when
Yeah.
you really keep digging down into the why, but why did I act that way, but why did I not, because it'll really boil down to shame, like I didn't do what I was supposed to do and I feel guilty about it. So that's
Yeah.
where you can rewrite that story and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to show up for myself so I don't have these feelings again, that I don't feel this way, that I can be honest about why I didn't do certain things the way I needed to go, knowing I was supposed to do it, right? But that's one of the things I often find with accountability is that we get on the defense mode. If we're not willing, we want it, but then as quick as we say that when we have it, it can tarnish relationships. So you really have to be mindful of that you're not pushing people too much, but you're also giving them room, and that when they don't perform and they don't show up, never have that be about you. It was never about you to begin with if you decide to be somebody's accountability partner, but you once again did your best to be there in that moment should they need it. But it really has to be a self thing where if I want that, just understand there's gonna be days I don't want to hear it, but why? Right? Why? Everything goes back to the why ladder. The why ladder is an amazing thing.
Geez. When you say the why ladder, what do you mean?
So the why ladder, oh, 1 second. The why ladder is just you constantly asking yourself at every given time why. So
Okay.
if I say I don't like working out, why? Because every time I work out, I feel like my body hurts. Why? Because I'm not working out every day. Why? Because I haven't made time for it. Why? You get where I'm coming from, right? Like everything you say, you can dig deep down and find a why and realize what the root of that problem is. I know it
Mm-mm.
sounds crazy, but I do it all the time to myself. I do it to my clients, and they don't really. The self discovery that comes from that is you're just tapping. You're tapping into what's really stopping you, and that can absolutely help you get to the next level as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez. And then, of course, with that comes honesty, because you've got to be honest,
Yes,
right?
we have to, and we don't like to do that. So that's the other thing too, right? Like this is where the life coaching comes in because we show up in so many areas in our lives, like personally, right? With the things that we carry, the trauma that we carry, the triggers that we carry, the shame, the hurt, the guilt. So when you try to do your finance, or you try to do fitness, or you try to run a business, there's going to be different times where things will trigger you, and you will kind of stop you from not wanting to do that because you experienced something in the past. So that's also
Right.
something to work with, to remind people that what you're going through is actually okay, and what you went through is actually necessary for where you need to go to next. And I know that with situations that we all go through, it's various degrees, and some of it is really high. You know, I can say that I haven't experienced a lot of different levels of trauma. For me, it's more abuse, physical, mental, and that level. Like, I haven't had any other like too huge of a trauma-based experience, but essentially, even with that, I still experienced that. So as I started my healing journey about a year ago, what became evident is that people would tell me, like, we don't want to upset you, or we don't want to do, and I'm like, wait, what? And I don't realize how people are operating in my benefit. So I had to, like, I really didn't understand it at first, but I realized that I was a hothead, and COVID exposed me to the T, because when my whole team at the college shifted, I'm a type of person where I'm very systemic. So things just weren't, and I kind of vocalized, but then I grew and they grew, and I found out how I showed up. I'm very authoritative, so I have to understand where I get that from. Well, I'm a mom, you know, and I've managed for over 6 years, so for me, everything was systemic. If there was a problem, let's put a process in place. That's how I looked at things. So when I didn't see that, because we're more laxative, so I was like, I can't operate this way. But when they put us through an array of like EQ testing and your personality traits, one of the things that I realized, what made more sense to me, was I am a futuristic person. So I'm already in 2022 as we speak. I understand what's left for the year, but I'm already in the next year, you know? So I that's how I operate. I create goals all the time. So that's why I can, in my mind right now, I see what needs to get done, and I just constantly just bang off the goals, and just kind of get it done. But then it's like, and that makes sense why I always, like, I'm okay to run into things, like jump into things, because for me, I'm a doer. That's just what I do. Like, I don't know anything less. If something's to get done, I'll whip it up. We're good, you know? Where some people, they need time to think about it. They're unsure. So I had to respect that when it came with my colleagues, that we don't all operate the same. However, we absolutely complement. Because if somebody has a project and they need somebody to do note taking, or they want somebody to come up with the idea, they know that Nikki's going to put it on a piece of paper and put it in the system, because I can't operate no other way. But then they love me for that, because now they have something to work with. So it was really just being able to identify what are our strengths and understanding what our weaknesses are. And for me, it was my approach with people. It was how, like, mind you, clients were good. You weren't seeing that type of Nikki. But if I had to work with you, you were like, I didn't realize, you know, the type of person I was. And it's so important as a leader to really sit and figure out who you are, because essentially you are the brand, right? And I wouldn't want that to kind of come in between any opportunities that I may be presented with. So, you know, for me, when I seen your shirt, I was like, that's an amazing shirt. Like, Ghetto Stories. Like, I think people don't, when people see me, they see me like George Brown. But before that, I'm dance hall. I'm like long nails. Like, it's, when I look back at my life, I'm like, oh my God, like a lot has changed.
No, but I think everybody has a story. That's why I do this show, because I love to hear individual stories. I think all of our stories matter.
Mhm.
Everybody's story is unique, and it's definitely beneficial to somebody out there. Somebody listening right now is like, yo, this is, going to change my life right here.
Mhm.
So you're
Yeah.
talking about this. This is huge, because that's about, as you're saying, evolving, like life, you have
Mhm.
to evolve.
Yes.
But like, how did you jump on this journey? What changed? What was the point where you're like, I need this, I'm looking around and I need to change this?
Hmm. So for me, as far back as I can remember, that I know I'm comfortable with sharing, is that I actually started in the urban industry doing promotion. So that's how it really started. Like, I didn't really notice it, but I have this entrepreneurial spirit by me. Like, I was always like, I was one of selling the chocolates, teeth in the chocolates, reselling them again somehow at school, like doing different ways to make money. My poor parents, I don't know how they dealt with me, but I've always had this thing with money as I look back. And I did well in that industry till I met somebody, which wasn't good for me. But essentially, what I realized was that I was earning something, that
Mm,
I started a business and it went well. And it wasn't that it just went well. It's like I kept being innovative. Like at first I started off with like buying tickets for my friends and then my friends weren't showing up. And then I was losing money. And then I was like, okay, well, how about I just sell some of these tickets and then whatever I don't sell, they're like, yeah, then you get ticket cut. I'm like, wait, I get what cut? And then it went from like to doing flyers, flyering cards. Then it went to like I started offering like chocolate covered strawberries, decorating girls' booths. So I was making good money, but once again, intuitively, not even knowing it then, something was off. And what I meant by that at the time was that the industry was dominated heavy by DJs. And it didn't make sense because as much as you all are the party in a sense, like, I mean, the promoters, without the promotion of the event, you wouldn't get to the masses, right? So I was like, there has to be something more than this. And I remember amongst the chaos in the relationship that I was in, um, I I must have applied for George Brown, but I don't remember this. Like I have no recollection. But what I do have is going to the school the first day and saying, I didn't receive no letter, like no denial, no acceptance. They're like, yeah, you've been accepted. And I was like, what? And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't gone to them, I don't think I would have even realized that I was actually enrolled in a special event planning program. And then from since then, it was like budget. We're doing budget for events. They do budgets. And I'm like, break even. I'm like, why don't we budget our own lives? That doesn't make no sense. So many things were hitting me as I went back to school. And I'm like, this makes no sense. And then I realized what I was experiencing in industry, there was more. I wanted to become an event planner. I wanted to host all these great, amazing events, and corporations who had all this big, big money. And I had no limitations on what I could do. And then I get in. Then I'm like, somebody says to me, "Oh, you can go into the degree program." I'm like, okay, degree program. I go, what is this? And then all we talk about is hotels. I'm like, I will never work in hotels. Like, I just want to do events. And then I landed in hotels for all my years doing food and beverage. Except for when I went to Deloitte, that was a whole next whatever. But it I did all of that, but not realizing that I was actually being prepped for this very moment. I did some long hours. I missed a lot of my boys growing up. My youngest one was 2 years old when I had gone back to school. So for me, I was fighting for something, even though I kind of didn't know what it was. I just kept pushing, saying no for something bigger. And my greatest testimony came when I received an email saying you have been chosen for the valedictorian. And I was like, wait, what? And like even when that happened, by January, I already had a job and a management and training program. So I even now in this season, I'm no longer taking for granted the things that I can manifest, because I'm telling you, I've been doing this, but I haven't been realizing it. This month taught me a lot. Like it just made me more open up to how much important writing is. So it's going through all of that. It was going through George Brown. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still there. I work at that college because a part of me feels like they've done so much for me. They don't know it, but when I first walked in, I was like, first impressions make yours count. That changed my life. There was no more long nails. There was no more red hair. I just kind of did a complete 360, and it's been the best thing that I ever did. You know what I mean? But like sometimes, like if I'm in comfortable situations, I can't hide who I am, and I realize that. But I mean, like when I hear people talk about like, oh, we're targeting middle class people, I'm like, I'm from low income, and that's just where it's coming from. And they say like, it's hard to target these people or hard to get them, and I get that. But I was also low income, and I also never had it, and I'm still trying to figure out a way to get through it, and it's a lot better for me. But then I think about all the other women who really have no clue or no way of being able to be resourceful. And if you have an idea how to actually make this work, what does it look like? Why are you still stuck on welfare? Because for me, for the longest while, I was even dependent on it. But the minute I came off, I was like, oh my gosh, the freedom. You don't have to let people know it's your bank account. You don't have to constantly do this and you constantly do that. Like, you level up. And that's what I want women to experience, especially ones who have kids, because we really can leave legacies now. We really can. Like, yes, it's a sacrifice you kind of have to do for our time being. But once you've done it, once you've cleared all that air, oh my God, you're just literally recycling the money that you already have, or the money that you have access to, or the assets that you have. Like it's just, you just need to know the information that's obviously not available to us. It's done intentionally, they don't want you to be healthier, even though they make it seem like, you know, they're there for us. They don't want you to learn about money. They don't want you to get your life together. One of the things that I realized I don't talk a lot about, but I read books. And it was a girlfriend of mine who we started an Instagram live a year ago, and every month we pretty much read a book. And it's been struggles a lot, mainly because of me, because I've been finding this new foot. But we right now we're doing a lot of batch work, so we still record every week. It's going to be released soon, but like even now, like the book that we're reading is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and this book is so chewy, like, oh my gosh. And of course you wouldn't want people to learn what's in here, then they would better their lives, and
Yeah.
the world would be a better place. Like, you know, so I understand that too. And you know, creating that platform, I don't speak much about it as well, because then I'm still building it with my girlfriend, but that is to really teach people the importance of literacy and why the answers are in books, and how we need to be reading more and surrounding ourselves with, you know, people, like-minded people, authors, individuals that are just where we want to be. There's nothing wrong with being in a room full of other people where we want to be. You actually want to be in the room where you don't know anything. You know, I actually appreciate those rooms so much. But essentially, like, everything is found in books, and we need to spend more time reading them, you know, because once again it helps with the mindset. So that's what I identified before I started reading. Like, when was the last time I actually read? But
Hmm.
reading is a lot of how I where I am today too, with my mindset, because the discipline, you want discipline, go read Atomic Habits by James Clear, because that's who I got the habit stacking from. He talks a lot about your habits. We talk about the discipline. Like, he's the one that had the amazing activity where it's like, just document what you're doing. And it curved me, because what was I doing? Nikki would get up and go on my phone without even intentionally knowing
Yeah.
it, you know? So for
Yeah.
me now, I operate different. A lot of my things are automated now, but when I'm not online, my phone is off, and I'm just single tasking on the task at hand. And I treat online like a business. I come on, I engage, I connect at, you know, specific hours of the day. I do what I gotta do, and then I get the heck off,
Yeah.
because it's not. I want to be doing more of this, not more just of this.
Yeah.
You know. So I pick and choose wisely how much of Instagram, or just online for that matter, gets my time. So
That is important because, you know, you can get stuck on Instagram sometimes or any social media platform for longer than you would like to be on. You know what I mean? Sometimes you check the time and you're like, what, half an hour already?
listen, oh my
Jeez.
gosh, it's bad. But you know, we just have to understand their traps. Instagram gets paid $6 per hour per user. So you do the math, right? So this is why algorithm has changed, because if you have a post that's essentially doing well, of course Instagram's gonna push it out and increase the reach and the visibility, because your post will get people to stay on and engage a little bit longer if that's what that post is doing, if they notice that post doing something. So it even took me a while, it took me like, what is it, 2.5 months to really understand what is it people want to see, or what information is of value to people, even though they're not. I mean, the finance page is a little bit harder, because it's a lot of, like, not everybody's gonna tap into that, because of the simple fact that it's finance. I don't really want to talk about that, but I see what you're posting. But my life coaching one, it took me a while to figure out what my audience wants, and that's because I just kept trying. So with when I do my coaching with people, I actually have like a metric system that I use. And I'm literally documenting everything, like how many hashtags did the post come through with, what was the reach, what was the views, the shares, everything. Because if you see that those are good, then essentially instead of redoing your content, repurpose it. This is the thing that I've learned, is repurposing your content is amazing, because if you're constantly meeting everybody or meeting new people, then they would have never known that you used it already before. But if it becomes a part of your brand, right? Like, think of how many times we see the McDonald's commercial. You think they're gonna put out a new commercial for every time or every week? No, it's gonna be a run campaign for a duration of time, because that's what they're pumping out this time. So
Yeah.
I also learned that when it came to the content of what I put out, repurpose it. So if you have one that just talks about 416 stuff every single week, it gets put into the content. Or every other 2 weeks, whatever. But that just helps us to try to figure out, okay, what is it that we have to post, or what is it that I need to post, right? Because we do have to be, as businesses, the messaging is what matters. So the more you're consistent about your messaging, the more your audience will understand it and will speak about you when you're not in rooms. I know this amazing lady named Ellie who threw on this the summit. It was awesome. You should really go check her out. And that's what we need to get back to the habits of doing, is because people, as long as you as an individual are showing up authentically in your brand, people will like you. I love you for who you are. I really thought that summit was everything. And if you don't have any type of level of credentials, that you need to be slapping on virtual event planner on your resume, because that is how you do it. Like, I don't know what to say. And that is something that's definitely on the rise. And lo behold, I'm telling you, there are businesses out there that don't have a clue how to use Zoom, don't have a clue how to do this and that, and you'd be a great asset. So even that's another thing I tell people about, is when you have, even though you might be passionate in one area, there's nothing wrong with taking that same skill, because you don't have to repurpose it, you don't have to do anything over, and offering it to somebody else who could use the help. So if you put it out there that this is what you do, yes, it may not flood in right away, but over time, you may never know, right? Somebody may say, hey, Ellie, I really like what you're doing. This is what my business does. Do you mind helping me? Can I pay you a consultation fee to help me plan a virtual event?
It's a good idea. Let me write that down. That's a very good idea.
That was
No,
really, really
honestly.
good. It was so good.
Um, no, but you are always helping people out. I mean, you came, I didn't even know you. We had a good long conversation, and you were giving me tip after tip after tip after tip. So I appreciate you. You're out here, you are supporting people. How can we get more information from you? Like, you're putting out the course, like you have a lot of content though, even in branding building. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where can we get that information?
Yeah, definitely. So you can absolutely head over to either Miss Nikki underscore nicely blessed. So that is the coaching company in itself. Um, a lot of activity is on that page. I'm pumping up the finance just as much, which is higher higher heights exp for the experience portion of it, because I really want people to understand that finance is an experience, right? It's really one where it's not easy, it does take a lot of emotions, but it's possible to get through, right? So I really want to tap into that. But that's where you can find me. You can ask me any questions. Chances are I have the answer, and I'm more than willing to help, for sure. And I tend to find that discovery calls help people a lot, because even in a discovery call, I let you know, for the most part, I know I can help you. But it's I'm so excited because everybody comes with different things, right? Like, there's nothing the same. So I'm always forever like, oh, this is amazing, yeah, we can do that. So
For sure. And then what about, you were saying you have some courses coming out. When are the courses coming out?
yeah, so the courses, the Instagram content strategy guide and the caption and hashtag guide, those are to be released next week. So, couple things that I've learned when it comes to businesses is that you have different tiers of services that you could be providing. So you see how I pitched that idea to you when I was saying, hey, why don't you X, Y, and Z? You can actually create an ebook and sell somebody the guide on how to plan and execute a virtual event. And people, this is the thing, what we need to understand is that as a teacher, we have different types of learners. So that's why I'm creating so many different things, because one person might really just need me, and like me as a coach. One person, which is like me, I can just continuously buy people's ebooks and get my information from there. Or some people need the actual online course, which you're taken by guided steps in order to gain that level of information, or you might need a hybrid of all, right? So when you're able to provide all those different types of options for your audience, you're really able to attract people in. And essentially for you, like these ebooks, the worksheets that I do, what's amazing about them is they're great leads. They're a way for me to get your email, which is another way for you to actually build your email list, but connect with people. Because if you found interest to the worksheets, well, I know there's more to that then, right? Maybe you want to discuss your finances, but you haven't had the opportunity. So then that's where I could have that connection with you. So it is good to offer free things in for our business, but it's a matter of what. And for the virtual summit for businesses, that would actually make sense, because that's what you do.
Mm, true, true. Good idea. Good idea. And then the ebooks are coming out next week. And
Mhm.
then you mentioned putting a course on
Yeah,
Thinkific
those
or
ones I'm not too sure yet because
okay.
I'm like, I finished building one guide almost, and then I have to do another guide. And
Okay.
then those guides will help me then build more of the online course because the online course is more the just adding the stimuli and adding the actual activities in it. So everything is like stages. Oh my gosh, it's so much stages, but that I can't promise. Like it's definitely going to be in June because I promised myself by the ending of June I am done. And just a little, and then I'm done. I also have an events company, so I couldn't really leave that. I don't leave. Like right before COVID hit, I actually was about to get a storefront because my thing is like intimate events. I wanted to do events less than 100 people, standing or 60 seated. Like an industry, great, but I really love being able to cater to people. So I have that. So coming in July, which everything has to start coming into place for next month, I'm going to be doing bohemian type style rentals, like picnic tables. Um,
Okay.
because that's just what I do. I just never stop working. But no, I really want to get back into events. Small, just small. So I thought that'd be a great thing where I can do that. And I'm also gonna have my own wine. I'm partnering with a chef. So and then that's what I said I'm done. I'm not doing any more. I promise because July, August, I swear it's literally just promo, promo, promo. Hi, how are you? Connect, connect, and then that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. The building is a lot. I'm over it.
It is. But you know, there's a season, as you were saying, there's seasons for everything. So there's this building season and then there's the reaping season after you build. So you'll be reaping
Yes, yes,
just now,
yes. I said
right?
streams of income is very necessary. We do need to be creating those. That's my why. My why is how do I make Wi-Fi money? How am I able to really go after my dreams and still take care of my family, spend time with them in the summertime? And it's like we need to be setting up passive income. So ebooks are great, online courses are great. Um, these things where people don't need us, that's when what we want to be offering because anybody can tap in and then just purchase that without you being there. So we do need to be creating more of that for our businesses, and giving people options and variety, of what is it that we offer. So I'm all about that. That's going to be all up and running. I'm so excited. Honestly, like I've had so much sleepless nights and I'm not going nowhere. I will literally be up until like 4 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep at like 4 and then I wake up at like 7 o'clock, jumping like, and I'm in my own house. And I don't travel to go anywhere. So can you imagine? But when you get told you get the downloads of what to do next, it's amazing. So definitely follow that. So my first, I thought I was creating online courses, but they're like, no, 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 you gotta create ebooks, and then yeah, that's what happened. So that's why I don't have a date
Mm.
for you yet. But you will, if you're following, you will definitely see it pumping out. 100%, you'll definitely see it.
Okay. Okay, okay. All right. Well, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us. Thank
Yeah.
you for dropping all of this, so necessary information. And I'm excited to have you back on the show to talk about finances. We're going to get all the way into financials
Yeah.
on May 31st. So I appreciate you. And I mean, there's firecrackers popping
You
off
hear them
outside right
people?
now.
Yeah, I hear them right now outside my window. Yeah.
Yep, yep. So enjoy it,
Thank
and
you.
we'll definitely be in touch.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for everybody who's stayed on the live, tuned in, received the information. As I said, don't feel, the need not to reach out. If you don't even can't find me, just reach out to Ellie, But blessings to everybody and have an amazing night.
But I have one question for you, actually. Do you have a quote, like an
Mm.
inspirational quote that you kind of go by that you would like to share before I let you go?
In the ending of my email, I have a quote that says the fastest, and just correct me if I don't have it right, but it says the fastest way to build the dreams of your life is to help others build theirs. So that's essentially why I'm so focused on helping others, because I really believe that if I help you do something, then all you're gonna do is bring my name further, right? Tell somebody how I kind of helped you do this. So it's that's why I put people first, and then for me, I come second because I know once you give, you receive, you give, and that's the whole cycle too, right? Another great book, Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Thank you, girl. Thank
You're
you. Have
welcome.
yourself a great night, though. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Wow, guys, that was phenomenal, right? Phenomenal event, phenomenal interview. So much gems. I mean, I'm telling you, the first time I spoke to Nikki, she was giving me all these tips, tips on how to do branding, just simple little things that we don't always necessarily know, but it's important little gems to make sure that we are doing what we can to expand our visibility, expand our business, expand our reach. So you guys definitely want to make sure that you are hitting her up. Higher Heights X EXP. Make sure you reach out to her, talk to her. She's so approachable. She's somebody that is willing, as you can hear, just to help. She's willing to help. So you definitely want to make sure that you're reaching out to her. She's got the tips, man. I'm telling you, she can give you information as she's talking to you. She's showing you things. She's sharing. She's honestly like, trust me, a good-hearted person who's just willing to help, and that's what we need out here in the community, right? So if you guys are looking to, there you go, Miss Nikki underscore nicely blessed. There you go. I didn't want to say it wrong. Okay, Miss Nikki underscore nicely blessed. All right, guys, make sure you hit her up. Ask her any question that you have, how you can make sure that you're expanding your business. And then download the ebook, get the ebook. She's got some courses coming out in June. So look out for the courses. Just like, follow, request, any information that you're looking for. All right, guys. So thank you. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys. So excited to have you guys here on the show with me. So that was the edition of What's the 411 for today. Make sure that you guys are enjoying this weather. If you are in Toronto, they said this week is supposed to be like in the 30s. So you know what it is. It was like winter 2 weeks ago. Now it's full blown summer, and it is what it is. So make sure you guys are getting out there. Make sure you're getting that sun. Make sure you're enjoying yourself. And I will see you same time, same place next week. All right. So thank you guys. All right. Take care.